You are listening on Garden Story. If you enjoy it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Wishing you happy listening. Living again for the second time, I sat silently watching the green tea girl perform her act. My adopted younger sister and I had been fighting for 2 lifetimes, and despite using every possible method, I had always failed. In my previous failure, even my fiancé was stolen away by Serena Gian. Feeling as though everything was against me, I decided to let things flow naturally, no longer wanting to struggle. But this time, I was the victor. I was reborn once more, returning to when I was only 8 years old, precisely on the day Serena was brought home. The poor child was the daughter of my pitiful aunt, but her parents had met with a tragic accident. Serena also carried a terrible heart disease within her. My parents felt great sympathy, so they extended their arms to welcome the little one home, treating her as the youngest daughter of the house. Vivian, Derek, from now on Serena will be your little sister. Remember to love each other. My mother gently placed Serena in her embrace. In my 2 previous lives, seeing my place in mother's arms taken by another had driven me to mad jealousy. I harbored resentment, seeking every way to provoke Serena. So in this second rebirth, I had resolved to cast aside those negative emotions, but this scene still made my heart ache. My older brother, Derek Gian, seemed completely unbothered, and even found this little sister quite adorable. Perhaps mother noticed my dejected expression, as she immediately took my hand and placed it in Serena's, speaking softly. Your little sister has a heart condition. You're the older sister, so you must yield to her. Hearing these words, my heart sank like a stone. Because Serena was ill, I had to be the one to make sacrifices. In my 2 previous lives, ever since Serena appeared, everything from toys to the love of my parents and brother had to be shared in half. Whenever I was unwilling, my parents and brother would always offer their advice. Serena has a heart condition. You're the older sister. You must be understanding. No one understood me at all. I was only 1 month older than her. I was also a child. I also wanted things that belonged to me alone. For 8 years, I had grown accustomed to being loved completely. Tell me, how could I happily welcome a little sister who fell from the sky and stole away my share of love? Vivian, don't worry. Even with Serena here, our love for you won't diminish at all. My mother remained as sweet as ever. She had said the same thing in my previous life. Mother loved me, certainly, but at this moment, I could sense the pity directed toward Serena, an orphan child who also carried illness within her. She always believed herself to be truly fair, but little did she know that such words alone were enough to reveal her favoritism. Sister. Serena called out timidly, her expression as if she were very afraid of me. I didn't respond. Vivian, my mother said, seeing my prolonged silence, her tone taking on a hint of severity. She hoped I would get along harmoniously with Serena, just as they treated each other. Uninterested, I replied coldly and turned to go upstairs, returning to my room. In my 2 previous lives, I hadn't just vehemently opposed Serena's presence, but had also fought bitterly with everyone. In my second life, I had even gone on a hunger strike. However, all those efforts were useless, only making the family feel even more sorry for Serena. Children who know how to cry get candy, but a child who cries all day long not only gets no candy but becomes despised. This time, I swore I wouldn't lose myself, respect for the sake of family affection just to please Serena. Parents, older brother, or even my future fiancé. If Serena liked them, she could freely take them all. Their love was too cheap, easily shared with others, so I didn't need it. If I wanted to, I could perform a perfect act, but Serena wasn't worthy of such qualification. I locked myself in my room, and except for mealtimes, I buried myself in studying. Although I was now just an elementary school student, the memories from my previous life remained intact in my mind. In my 2 previous lives, I had only focused on confronting Serena, neglecting my studies. As a result, I couldn't even pass the college entrance exam. In the end, I could only go abroad to get a master's degree as a facade. This time, my goal was to Tsinghua University. I immersed myself in books from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Everything else could betray you, but knowledge never would. My parents also knocked on my door several times, hoping I would be less stubborn and get along with Serena, but I always sent them away. Daddy, does sister hate me? Should I go to the orphanage? Serena's voice was so pitifully small that it couldn't help but break one's heart. Serena, don't say such things. Vivian has been spoiled since childhood. Her temperament isn't good. Don't take it to heart. Father comforted her, and my brother joined in. That's right, Serena, don't overthink it. The whole family loves you. If you want to express affection, please do it elsewhere. Don't stand in front of my room, it's too noisy. I opened the door, leaning against the wall with my back, responding casually. Sister, I didn't mean to disturb you. Serena sobbed, her eyes already brimming with tears, as if she had endured great suffering. This scene disgusted me, but the men in the house were easily conquered by her appearance, immediately shielding Serena. My brother scolded me, Vivian Jun, don't bully Serena. Vivian, you don't know how to listen. Why can't you learn to be as well behaved and understanding as your sister? Father was no softer. How touching. If they weren't my biological father and brother, I might have shed tears at this familial affection. I'm not bullying her, nor do I care to pay attention to her. So don't always appear in front of me, it's annoying. I spoke casually, my fists clenched tight, nails digging into my palms. Only this way could I maintain my cold exterior. Vivian, you're such a disappointment to Father. Serena has a heart condition and you still. Before Father could finish, I slammed the door shut with a bang. Vivian. Vivian. My brother continuously pounded on the door, trying to call me out to apologize to Serena. I leaned my back against the door, steadying my emotions, ignoring the commotion outside. Clearly I had done nothing wrong, yet I was always the one at fault. Serena only needed to shed a tear for everyone to feel pity and forgiveness. I did nothing except dislike her, yet I became the villain. Though I had experienced this before, when it repeated, I still felt uncomfortable. After that, my attitude toward Serena remained unchanged. When my parents saw we weren't causing trouble, they stopped interfering. After all, false peace was still a kind of peace. Initially, Serena tried to win me over, but I, someone who had lived 2 lives, couldn't care less. This life was the same. After several failures, she understood and gave up, turning to win over others instead. Just like in my 2 previous lives, in less than a month, Serena had become less timid, laughing and chatting happily with my family. Among them, they were no different from a happy family of 4. Time flew, and my birthday arrived. According to plan, we would go to an amusement park today. I rarely stopped studying and was preparing to relax a little. Just as we entered the park, before we could enjoy any rides, Serena clutched her chest and collapsed into Father's arms in pain. Serena, what's wrong? Don't scare Daddy, Father panicked. Mother and brother, who had been walking ahead, heard Father's voice and turned back, abandoning me to rush over, worried about Serena. Heart hurts, Serena said weakly, as if the slightest carelessness would be dangerous. Without hesitation, Father called the driver to come pick us up immediately and go to the hospital. I had forgotten, in my previous life, Serena had also had a heart attack, ruining my birthday. Having lived through 2 lifetimes, I had forgotten these details. The driver arrived quickly, in less than 10 minutes. At the exit, Father carried Serena and hurried away without looking back, and my brother followed. Mother stayed behind, looking at me with complex eyes, then said, Vivian, I'm sorry. Serena's condition is special. We'll go to the amusement park another time, okay? Mother's words were exactly the same as in my previous life. In my previous life, I had cried and refused to let Father and brother go, and ended up being scolded. She already has Father and brother with her. I pleaded as long as Mother stayed. I would forgive everything she had done in both lifetimes. Mother is your mother, but Serena also needs Mother. Mother hesitated, then continued. Next time, Mother and Father promised to take you to the amusement park. Okay, I didn't respond. About 10 seconds later, seeing no reaction from me, Mother took my hand and led me out of the park. My last hope shattered. I threw my Stella Lou rabbit headband on the ground. What amusement park? How boring. I refused to go to the hospital and called a taxi home. My parents didn't pay attention to me either, not a word of instruction, just rushed off. I had clearly prepared myself mentally. But when the feeling of abandonment repeated, my heart still ached. By nightfall, no one had returned. In my first life, I had also sat like this on the living room sofa, from morning till night. Mrs. Wang, the housekeeper, quietly cleaned and prepared dinner for me. In my previous life, I had gotten angry, smashed several bowls, and even hit Mrs. Wang, causing the only person in the house who cared for me to become afraid. I didn't make things difficult for her, ate a few bites, then went upstairs. It wasn't until the next day that the whole family returned, with Serena like the moon surrounded by stars. Seeing me, their expressions stiffened, as if they had just remembered. Probably only now did they realize there was still a biological child left abandoned at home. Father was about to explain. Vivian, we didn't mean to. It's just that Serena, the child. Serena has a heart condition and needs her parents. I coldly interrupted, speaking for father. Father froze, then nodded like a machine, saying, Vivian, it's good that you understand. We'll make it up to you. Next time when Serena is well, we'll go to the amusement park. I smiled bitterly. This was the funniest joke I'd heard all day. Why should my birthday depend on Serena's health condition? In the end, was this my celebration or Serena's stage? They insisted that both children must enjoy themselves together to be fair, regardless of the circumstances. No need. I don't want to play together anymore. I refused. Vivian, don't be angry anymore, okay? We only care about Serena, but that doesn't mean we don't care about you. Mother approached to hug me, gently patting as if trying to comfort. Sister, don't blame mother and father. They're just too worried about me, that's why. Serena spoke timidly, then coughed twice, her face flushing red. Brother comforted her. Serena, this isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, Vivian won't be angry with you. That's right, Serena. Everyone knows your health isn't good. This isn't your fault at all. Father also gently patted her. I jerked away from mother's embrace, ignoring their surprised looks, and went upstairs alone. No one blamed Serena, the one who caused everything. Instead, everyone used my supposed pitifulness as an excuse to forgive her. In my previous life, every time my birthday came, Serena would use her heart condition as an excuse to draw all of my parents' attention to herself. Only on her birthday would nothing go wrong. I could see through her unremarkable schemes, but no one bothered to believe me. In my second life, I decided not to celebrate birthdays, making every day a battle between Serena and me. A month later, just like in my previous life, my parents and brother organized a grand birthday party for Serena, solemnly introducing her to high society. My birthday was glossed over, while Serena's birthday was known to everyone. These parents even smugly believed that. I sat curled up in a corner, listlessly poking at the cake on my plate. Serena was resplendent in her princess dress, wearing a crown, standing at the center of the party like a dazzling star. In my second life, I had caused chaos at this birthday party, forcing Serena to be hospitalized immediately, but that only served as a catalyst for the family to despise me even more. Why is the young lady of the Jian family sitting alone here? A familiar male voice spoke up. Nathan Chen, someone who had always been at odds with me since childhood. I'm not the main character, so why should I push into the crowd? I replied unhappily. Nathan and I could be considered childhood sweethearts, except we always argued whenever we met. Previously, he had traveled abroad and only returned just before the new school year. You've never been like this before. Nathan sat down beside me, looking surprised. From what I remember, you were never this well behaved. At the very least, you should have made this adopted daughter's birthday party a complete disaster, right? Though I didn't want to admit it, he was right. I had done exactly that before. Ruining Serena's birthday party had only resulted in being labeled as arrogant and stubborn for life, a mark I could never remove. What's the point of causing trouble? What would I gain from that? I sighed wearily. You really don't seem like yourself at all. Nathan reached out to pat my head, saying, Call me brother, and I'll help you get revenge. I swatted Nathan's hand away and glared at him. It's not necessary. I have no interest in fighting with her. For me now, I'd rather spend time studying and improving myself, leaving this house that doesn't belong to me sooner, rather than wasting energy on disputes with Serena. Summer passed, and school began. Serena was placed in the same class as me. Elementary school knowledge was too simple for me now. During summer vacation at home, I had already self-studied up to the 12th grade curriculum. Unlike me, Serena was a genuine elementary school student, and her academic performance wasn't very good either. After the final exams, it was no surprise that I ranked first in the class, while Serena only achieved average scores. As soon as we got home, Serena threw herself into mother's arms sobbing, Mommy, I did so poorly. Sister got first place, wah wah wah. I did poorly, didn't I? Mother panicked at Serena's sudden crying and hurriedly comforted her. Not at all, our Serena didn't do poorly at all. Just try a little harder, and you'll definitely not be inferior to Sister Vivian. Father also came over hearing the crying. That's right, Serena. Sister Vivian only got first place because she studied ahead during summer vacation. As long as you work hard, you can also be first. Everyone comforted Serena, while the actual first-place student, me, received no attention whatsoever. They were afraid Serena might have another heart attack, so they all wholeheartedly worried about her, with no one paying attention to me. Wasn't that right? Human affection was limited. Having more for one person meant less for another. Moreover, in this life I was no longer like before, no longer crying and making scenes. From the time I started school, I devoted all my time to studying. My appearances at home became fewer and fewer, and my relationship with the family grew increasingly distant. Fortunately, having lived through 2 lifetimes, I was used to my parents' favoritism. Otherwise, I would have been furious enough to fall ill. At the New Year's party, I met my fiancé Ryan Zhang. He was sitting right next to Serena. "Hey, aren't you going to manage your fiancé? His eyes are glued to your sister," Nathan whispered in my ear. The Zhang family, and Chen family had business relationships, and since the children of all 3 families were of similar ages, they often dined together, just like in my previous life. Ever since Serena appeared, Ryan no longer paid any attention to me. I originally had no feelings for him, but I thought that since he was my fiancé, he was mine, and I couldn't let someone detestable like Serena steal him away. In this life, I no longer thought that way. As for Ryan, if Serena liked him, she could have him. Seeing my silence, Nathan nudged me gently, pulling me out of my thoughts about my 2 previous lives. If the 2 of them like each other, then I can only respect that and wish them well. My voice was even, without a trace of emotion. "You don't like Ryan?" Nathan asked. I couldn't help but laugh. Who could like such a brainless guy? "What about the engagement between you 2? Nathan wouldn't let it go. "That was arranged by both families, not my choice." Nathan stopped asking, but his eyes clearly brightened with joy. Throughout the entire party, except for Nathan and his parents, everyone else kept serving food to Serena, while I was ignored. At the beginning of the new school year, to avoid seeing that green tea face, I skipped ahead 3 grades. By coincidence, I ended up in Nathan's class and even sat at the same desk with him. "So you do know how to study after all." Nathan seemed surprised to see me appear in his class, as if seeing a ghost. I had to sympathize with him. In my 2 previous lives, I had hated books since childhood, only enjoying tormenting Serena. My grades were always at the bottom. How could there be any possibility of skipping 3 grades to enter his class? I didn't want to see someone I hate. "It's quieter here," I replied casually. Nathan immediately knew who I was referring to. He said seriously, "It's okay. Your parents don't like you, but I do." Seeming to realize he'd misspoken, Nathan's face turned slightly red, and he quickly tried to cover, "Not that kind of liking. I mean like siblings." This was the first time I found Nathan so endearing, and I smiled slightly. My grade skipping seemed to be a huge shock to Serena. She also began staying up late to study, trying to catch up with me, nearly making herself ill in the process. My parents comforted her with pity. "Serena, your health is more important than grades. As long as you're happy, that's enough." My brother, who was studying at boarding school, hurried home to bring gifts for Serena, but brought nothing for me. For my birthday the following year, the plan was to go to an amusement park, but because Serena's health didn't permit such activities, the whole family had to change plans and go to the aquarium instead. I had no interest and dragged behind. Serena acted as if she were in heaven, with my parents and brother surrounding her, patiently explaining everything. They didn't even notice when I left. "Vivian." Outside the aquarium, I encountered Nathan. "What are you doing here?" With Nathan's personality, there was no way he would come to a place like an aquarium. "I called your house, and Mrs. Wang said the whole family went to the aquarium. I figured you wouldn't like such places, so I came to see if you'd sneak away." Nathan smiled smugly. Even Nathan knew I didn't like such places, yet my parents and brother paid no attention. Perhaps they knew perfectly well, they just didn't care. "Today is your birthday. Don't stay there suffering because of the green tea girl. Come on, let me take you to an amusement park." Nathan took my hand and pulled me along. At noon, my phone finally rang. "Vivian, where did you go?" Mother's worried voice came through. "Vivian, you're too wayward, running off alone like that. Do you know how worried we were?" Father's scolding voice followed. "Sister, where did you go? Did you leave because you didn't want to play with us? Vivian, when will you ever be as well behaved as Sister Serena?" Hearing the chaotic scolding, Nathan's eyebrows shot up. He snatched the phone from me. I took Vivian out. Hearing that Nathan was on the line, the scolding stopped. Oh, it's little Nathan. If you were taking Vivian out, you should have told us first. Today is Vivian's birthday, and the whole family was gathered outside celebrating for her. When we turned around, we couldn't find her anywhere. We were so worried. Mother's voice softened. I've been taking her out since morning, and you only just noticed. How worried you must have been. Nathan spoke with heavy implication. The other end fell silent. I'm sorry, sister. It's because I was clinging to Mom and Dad too much. Please come back and play with Mom, Dad, and brother. The aquarium is really fun. Serena immediately made her familiar apology as soon as she spoke. Serena, it's not your fault. Derek cut off Serena's apology. No need, I'm not interested in aquariums. Everyone have fun, I said coldly, then signaled Nathan to hang up. I spent the entire afternoon with Nathan. Although I had lived to 28 twice before, since Serena's arrival, I had never been to an amusement park, so I felt very happy. Nathan and I played until nightfall. Before parting, I hugged him tightly. Thank you, Nathan. Today I was truly happy. This was the first time in 3 lifetimes I've been this joyful. Nathan blushed and replied shyly, it's nothing. As long as you're happy. When I returned home, the whole family was sitting in the living room waiting for me. Vivian, today. Mother stepped forward to say something, but didn't continue. In that moment when Mother hesitated for 30 seconds, I didn't know whether she wanted to scold me for leaving or ask if I had fun playing with Nathan. I'm tired. Whatever it is can wait until tomorrow. I broke the silence. Ignoring the disappointed looks from the whole family, I went straight upstairs. If I stayed in the living room, I would again be compared to Serena, criticized for not being well behaved or understanding. What was the point of staying there except to ruin my mood? Time passed like this. I graduated from elementary and middle school with the highest grades in the school, then entered a prestigious high school with Nathan. Since entering middle school, I rarely went home, and the family gradually grew accustomed to Serena's sweet and lovely presence. The high school was an elite academy, but Nathan and I both chose to live in the dormitory. I didn't want to go home, while Nathan wanted to be close to me. Having been by Nathan's side for many years, I understood his feelings perfectly. I accepted his companionship but couldn't go further with Nathan. I still had an engagement. Before the affair between Ryan and Serena was exposed, I didn't want Nathan and myself to get into trouble. With Nathan by my side and no hateful Serena in sight, my high school years were the most beautiful time in all 3 of my lives. When summer vacation came, I returned home alone with my suitcase. Initially, Nathan wanted to escort me home, but his family was traveling abroad, so he had to return home a few days early. When I arrived home, the kitchen and dining room were clean, without the slightest smell of food. I frowned and called Mrs. Wang. Of course, miss. Today the young lady and the whole family went shopping, so they told me not to prepare meals. Nobody bothered to tell me you were coming home. I'm on my way back to start cooking dinner right now. Mrs. Wang's voice on the other end of the phone was filled with worry. I hadn't informed my parents about my vacation schedule, so they had no idea I was coming home today for summer break. It's okay, Mrs. Wang. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of myself, I said and hung up immediately. Thank goodness I had lived through 2 lifetimes. If I were still the me from my previous life, I would surely have felt heartbroken beyond measure. This house was originally mine alone, yet I had become an invisible person. Still, this was much better than my previous life. In my previous life, just because I hadn't treated Serena well, the whole family had turned their backs on me from middle school onward. In their eyes, I was no different from a spoiled, worthless child. When I arrived, I sat quietly on the sofa, watching the whole family return joyfully from their shopping trip. My expression showed not the slightest emotion. The school had different vacation periods, and my brother was 1 grade above me, so he had already started his vacation. Therefore, he had also joined today's shopping expedition. Seeing me, Mother seemed startled, her voice somewhat strained when she spoke. Vivian, why are you home today? She looked just like a cat caught in the act. I'm on summer vacation now, I replied coldly. What about lunch and dinner? Mother's face remained troubled, as if she no longer knew how to treat me. What did the family buy today? I didn't answer Mother's question, instead asking my own. Mother's expression became increasingly bewildered, and she hurriedly glanced at Father as if seeking help. In my heart, I had already guessed 80 to 90% of the truth, but still couldn't stop myself from wanting to see how they would react. My parents looked at each other. The atmosphere was truly awkward. For years now, have you ever considered this family as anything? You're not understanding like Serena either. You don't even bother to inform us about summer vacation. Don't blame your parents for not paying attention to you. My brother was the first to break the silent atmosphere. My parents looked terrified, panic clearly visible on their faces. They had always prided themselves on being fair, without any favoritism, yet my brother's words were like a slap in their faces. Vivian. My mother spoke up, seemingly wanting to defend herself. Sister, it's because I wanted to go shopping. Don't blame mom and dad. If sister wants to blame someone, just blame me. Serena quickly stepped forward to shield mother, as if protecting her. What a touching mother-daughter relationship. If the person in the middle weren't my biological mother, I might have applauded this performance. Mother looked at Serena, her eyes flashing with satisfaction, as if moved by her understanding nature. It's all because I kept wanting to play, so mom and dad forgot today was the day sister started summer vacation. If you want to be angry, just be angry with me. Scold me or hit me, but please don't blame mom and dad. The more Serena spoke, the more agitated she became, finally even clutching her chest in apparent pain. My parents panicked and immediately surrounded her to check on her condition. Vivian, why do you always have to target Serena? Derek shouted loudly. He seemed to have forgotten that he once promised to always support me. Where do you see me bullying her? I glanced at him coolly, replying without any happiness in my heart. Derek opened his mouth but couldn't utter a single word. From beginning to end, I had only used the calmest tone to ask a simple question, yet he concluded that I was bullying Serena. How ridiculous. Anyway, you've never treated Serena well. Derek spoke without any logical reasoning. I stepped toward him. Derek was 4 years older than me and a whole head taller. I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. I used all my strength in this slap, causing Derek to turn his head away, his face showing complete disbelief. My parents also seemed shocked by the scene before them, their eyes shifting from Serena to us. This is what bullying actually looks like, I said while lowering my hand, a tingling sensation spreading from the force I had just used. Derek slowly raised his hand to cover his face, eyes wide with rage, as if he wanted to devour me alive. Vivian, how could you hit Derek? He's your older brother. Father also became angry. Apologize to your brother immediately. He insulted me first, so why doesn't he need to apologize? I smiled and asked back. When I just returned home, before I could say more than a few words, I only wanted to ask where the family had gone today, yet he already pinned so many crimes on me. In the end, who is really at fault? Father raised his eyebrows, seemingly unable to think of any words to refute. Either way, he's still your older brother, and you're the younger sister. You shouldn't behave like this. You should learn from Serena, be more obedient and understanding. Stop it. I don't want to hear you praising Serena anymore. The faces of my parents showed clear annoyance, as if they felt disgusted that their biological daughter couldn't compare to even a hair of their adopted daughter. Sister, don't blame brother. Serena seemed to have recovered, gently speaking up to apologize to me. Those familiar words made me feel nauseous. If it weren't for the obvious smugness in her eyes, I might have almost believed she genuinely meant to apologize on Derek's behalf. Serena, don't pay attention to her, she's just crazy. Derek looked at me with contempt, as if I were nothing but trash. He had forgotten that there was once a time when I was the little sister he loved most. Vivian, listen to mother. Apologize to your brother, after all, you two are siblings. Mother stepped forward, trying to become a mediator. I'm not his biological sister, Serena is the right one. I avoided mother's hand that was trying to pull me back and replied coldly. Vivian. Father's voice rang out, full of stern authority. Not bothering to pay attention to the people in the living room, I turned and walked back to my room. I only needed to endure 3 more years, and when I entered university, I could leave Serena's house forever. The next day, my birthday came again. Initially, the family planned to organize a trip for everyone, but I had refused. Serena quickly made plans to bake me a cake. In my previous life, on my birthday, Serena had also made me a cake with mango in it. Unfortunately, I was allergic to mango. In this life, I again saw mango peels in the kitchen trash can. The corner of my mouth curved up slightly, a meaningful smile appearing. After all these years, her methods were still so dirty, But this time was different from my previous life. I was now in high school and had an important competition coming up that I had been preparing for a long time. I wouldn't let myself encounter any problems. Just like in my first life, Serena carried the cake she had made and happily approached everyone. "Sister, happy birthday." Serena smiled brightly, immediately soothing everyone in the room except me. "Serena is really thoughtful," Father said with a smile, his face full of happiness. Serena cut the largest piece of cake for me. "Sister, I made this especially for you. You must eat it all." I looked at the cake on the plate. It was definitely an amount of mango that could harm me. "That's right, Vivian. Serena worked so hard to make this cake. You must try it." Mother also chimed in. It seemed Mother thought that through this event, the relationship between us two could improve. "Mother." I put down the cake and looked straight at the woman before me. "Vivian, what trouble are you trying to cause now?" Seeing that I wouldn't eat the cake Serena had put effort into making, Derek immediately shouted, as if I had destroyed the precious feelings of the little sister he cherished. "What's wrong, Vivian?" Mother asked in confusion. I looked at the mango pieces visible on the cake and asked the question I had been keeping in my heart for so long. "Mother, do you still remember that I'm allergic to mango?" Mother's face suddenly turned red. "Vivian." She opened her mouth, wanting to find an explanation, but then realized there was nothing to explain. Even Derek, who always argued with me, fell silent. When I was 3 years old, I ate half a mango and ended up bedridden for 3 days. The doctor said I almost didn't have a chance to come back. Everyone in the house knew I was severely allergic to mango, but then everyone forgot. Their hearts and minds were entirely focused on Serena, only hoping I would yield and make her happy. What I ate or how it affected me, no one bothered to care. "I'm sorry, sister. I didn't know you were allergic to mango. I'm sorry." Serena spoke out, tears streaming down her cheeks. She cried like a pure blossom in the rain, looking pitiful. Immediately, the whole family turned to comfort Serena. "It's okay, Serena. You didn't know either. Vivian won't blame you." "That's right, Serena. Vivian hasn't even touched it yet, don't worry about it. Vivian, come comfort your sister quickly." Clearly I was the one being harmed, yet everyone only cared about the emotions of the one who caused the mistake. I felt only disgust. Using the excuse of studying for exams, I left the suffocating Jen household and found a study room to bury myself in books all afternoon. In the evening, I received a call from Nathan. "Happy birthday, Vivian." Nathan's voice was hoarse. He had probably just woken up. He was in New York, with a 12-hour time difference. "Thank you." It was just a simple greeting, yet my nose stung and my vision blurred. It seemed that besides Nathan, there was no one else in the world who truly treasured my birthday. "What's wrong, Vivian? Did the Jian family bully you again?" Nathan's voice sounded anxious. "Nothing. Just hearing your voice makes me miss you so much." The other end fell silent for a moment. I rarely express such sentiments. Nathan was probably embarrassed. "If you say that, I want to book a flight back to the country immediately." I laughed at Nathan's words, and my voice became more cheerful. "If I could, I'd want to fly to America right away too." "Who's calling, Vivian?" "Mrs. Chen's voice came from the other end. "Vivian, happy birthday, dear." Mrs. Chen took the phone from Nathan. I was wondering why my son called immediately after waking up. Turns out he was calling Vivian. Chen's voice was full of teasing. I could imagine her mischievous expression on the other end. After chatting with the Chen family for about 10 minutes, my mood improved considerably. Everyone in the Chen family was like warm sunlight. When the college entrance exams ended, I excellently ranked first in the province, while Nathan came in second. Naturally, we both became classmates again in university. As for Serena, because she didn't focus on her studies, she performed poorly and could only enter a private school to study art. When I started university, I used it as an excuse to leave the Jian family villa and found an apartment near the school myself. I had saved all the allowance money the Jian family had given me over the years. Thanks to memories from my previous life, I had acquired several companies. Nathan also pooled funds with some friends to start a company. When I turned 18, the family insisted I return home for my coming-of-age ceremony. I didn't want to go back because I knew Serena would definitely find a way to have a heart attack and ruin my ceremony. Her heart was like a time bomb. It would always act up at important moments. But now things were different. I no longer needed to depend on the Jian family. As predicted, on the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, Serena had another heart attack as usual. My parents and brother once again abandoned me and rushed Serena to the hospital. I no longer lost control with anger like in my 2 previous lives, facing the guests alone without any embarrassment. Miss Jian was no longer as rumored but was well regarded by everyone. Especially the Jiang family. Mrs. Jiang took my hand and said seriously, "You truly are our Vivian. We haven't seen you in years, and you've become so talented." Her eyes were full of satisfaction and joy. Little did she know that the daughter-in-law she had chosen long ago had actually been replaced. During my absence, Ryan and Serena had secretly gotten together. I calmly withdrew my hand from hers. "Thank you, Mrs. Jiang." My distant attitude didn't bother Mrs. Jiang. She began looking around for her son but couldn't see him anywhere. "If you're looking for Ryan, you might check Serena's hospital room." Mrs. Jiang's face showed clear surprise. She completely didn't understand why her son would appear in the hospital room of his fiancée's sister on her ceremony day. "Vivian, congratulations." Mrs. Chen brought Nathan over to congratulate me. "Oh my, our Vivian becomes more beautiful and talented each day. This boy is really lucky." Mrs. Chen patted Nathan's back playfully. Hearing this, Jiang's face darkened, showing clear displeasure. "Mrs. Chen, what do you mean? Vivian is my son's fiancée, they have an engagement." Mrs. Chen looked skeptical. "Impossible. Don't you know your son has already been bewitched by that Serena?" Hearing this, Mrs. Jiang's expression changed dramatically. She knew who Serena was, just an adopted daughter of the Jian family, a perfect example of a green tea girl. Besides crying, what could she do? How could she compare to the legitimate young lady of the Jian family? In my 2 previous lives, she hadn't liked Serena either, but she wasn't particularly fond of me either. So when her son's engagement partner suddenly changed, she showed no reaction. However, in this life, Mrs. Jiang was different. She quickly called the Jian family and rushed straight to the hospital. Nathan and I also took another car and followed. I had been waiting for this moment for a very long time, through 2 lifetimes. Such a good drama, how could I possibly miss it? In the hospital, Serena lay on the bed, her face pale, surrounded by a group of worried people. "Mom and Dad, I'm sorry for making you worry." Serena nestled coquettishly against Ryan, her face showing pitiful vulnerability, looking even more heart-wrenching. "Don't say that, Serena. We're all family." Mother held Serena's hand, reality comforting her. 2 years ago, the Jian family had discovered the affair between Serena and Ryan, but they chose to help her keep it secret. "Ryan." Mrs. Jiang's voice echoed throughout the hospital room. The 2 people who were intimately leaning against each other immediately separated, their faces showing panic. Mrs. Jiang approached the hospital bed, pulled Ryan up, and shouted, "Do you know what you're doing? You already have a fiancé." At this moment, Mrs. Jiang could no longer maintain her dignified appearance and was completely like an angry woman. "Mother, I don't like Vivian. The person I truly love is Serena." Ryan replied firmly. You. Mrs. Jiang was so angry she couldn't speak coherently. "Auntie." Serena on the hospital bed tried to sit up. "Ryan and I truly love each other. I hope Auntie can bless us." Seeing Serena's sickly pale face on the hospital bed, Mrs. Jiang became even more furious. Serena looked no different from a terminally ill patient about to die. Marrying such a person into the family would be asking for trouble. Never. Ryan's fiancée is Vivian. This was decided long ago. Mrs. Jiang's words were cutting. "I don't want to. I absolutely will never marry Vivian." Ryan roared angrily. Seeing me at the hospital room door, he approached as if to devour me. "Vivian, listen clearly, no matter what tricks you pull, it's useless. I don't love you, and I won't marry you." I smiled bitterly. 3 lifetimes combined was originally a joke, and now it was even more ridiculous. Mother also spoke up to mediate in a biased way. Come now. These 2 children already have feelings for each other. Why don't we nurture their love? After all, it's just a marriage between the Jian and Zheng families." "Mother, if you already knew everything, why didn't you tell me sooner?" I smiled and asked. Mother looked confused, her eyes beginning to waver. In my 2 previous lives, she had known early about the affair between Serena and Ryan but never informed me. She just let things develop naturally, only appearing when I accidentally discovered it to persuade me to give up my fiancé to Serena. In my previous life, of course I would never accept it. Even though I had no feelings for Ryan, I wouldn't allow Serena to steal what was mine. As a result, this matter caused an uproar everywhere. In this life, mother still stubbornly wanted me to give up my fiancé to Serena. After all, Serena was her treasure, while I, Vivian, was nothing. We only found out recently. We were afraid you couldn't accept it, so we didn't know how to bring it up. Anyway, now you know, Ryan doesn't love you. And you don't have feelings for Ryan either. So just give Ryan to your sister. Derek saw mother's silence and immediately spoke up, fighting for his beloved sister's opportunity. His words were completely unreasonable and full of holes. If I truly cared about Ryan, I would definitely be furious at Derek's words. But fortunately, in this life, my goals aligned with theirs. If that's the case, I agreed to break the engagement with Ryan. I pretended to be magnanimous, agreeing with Derek's words. My parents smiled with satisfaction, their eyes seeming to say that finally their daughter had matured and become sensible. Derek showed a victorious expression, walking to Serena's bedside, as if to show off his achievement. Vivian, you've suffered a loss. We'll make it up to you. Father approached and gently patted my shoulder in comfort. They were always like this, making Serena happy regardless of my feelings, then just saying vaguely that they would compensate me. Sister, thank you. Serena smiled sweetly at me. That smile held no gratitude whatsoever, only smugness, as if saying, look, everything that was yours is now mine. Thank you, Vivian. Ryan said to me, his tone somewhat awkward. It's nothing. I should be thanking you for being so easily bewitched by Serena and helping me escape this trouble. Though Mrs. Zhang was unhappy, seeing that everyone agreed, she knew that trying to stop it would be useless and reluctantly accepted. She still maintained an unpleasant expression as she pulled Ryan away. When leaving, this couple even performed an exchange of loving glances as if showing off to the whole world. Serena, you'll face great misfortune. Jiang was famous for being the most difficult person in their circle. Someone like her, accustomed to luxury, would never be able to endure it. Now that Vivian and Ryan have broken their engagement, shall we get engaged? Nathan had somehow approached nearby. The Jian family couldn't hide their surprise looking at me, seemingly very shocked that I had found a better fiancé than Ryan so quickly. No wonder you agreed to break the engagement so quickly, turns out you already found someone better. Derek said sarcastically. Sister is really blessed to find such a good fiancé as Mr. Chen. Serena chimed in, her tone full of green tea girl mannerisms, her eyes unable to hide her jealousy. Now she didn't need to pretend anymore, or had her acting skills deteriorated? Of course, you can only pick up things I don't want. I replied without any courtesy. Hearing this, Serena looked hurt, and tears began to fall again. Wawa, I'm sorry, sister. I shouldn't have stolen sister's fiancé. Sister scolding me is only natural, but sister can't blame Ryan, he's a good person. If Ryan were still here, he would definitely cry hearing these words. Don't flatter yourself. What are you competing with me for? I don't need anything. Just stay in your place and play your role well, don't worry about other things. Seeing me scold their princess, my parents couldn't sit still. Vivian, how can you speak to Serena like this? You're so uneducated. Father became angry. I rolled my eyes contemptuously. My education is only for those who know how to respect others. You don't deserve it. Vivian, is this how you speak to your father? Apologize to father immediately. Mother glared at me and ordered. Vivian, you truly disappoint me. I never expected to have such an ill-mannered sister. If only Serena were my real sister. Derek said with apparent heartbreak. Nathan was about to speak up for me, but I stopped him. I had waited for this day too long. If I didn't speak up myself, I would feel suffocated. Understanding my intention, Nathan stepped back, leaving the battlefield to me. If everyone keeps saying you'll compensate me, then let's sever our parent-child relationship. From now on, just pretend you don't have this daughter. That's the best compensation. I took out the agreement I had prepared long ago from my bag. Even before returning home for the coming-of-age ceremony, I had made thorough plans. Even if this incident hadn't happened, I would have presented this agreement. What are you saying? Vivian. Mother panicked, her voice rising sharply, completely losing her usual noble demeanor. I'm saying I want to sever the relationship with my parents. I replied coldly. Why had I never realized before that these people seemed unable to understand what I was saying? How ridiculous. Truly an unfilial child. We worked hard to raise you for 18 years, only to raise such an ungrateful child. After parents cared for you for 18 years, is this how you repay us? Father clutched his chest, his face turning pale. I laughed at their sarcastic words. worked hard, loved me. What kind of love is that? Giving me a non-blood, related sister and forcing me to yield to her everywhere. Is that called love? Since she arrived, everyone only cared about her. I never had a single birthday that was completely happy. Sometimes she had heart attacks, sometimes we had to cater to her preferences. Even when trying to help her, you ultimately couldn't stay with me. Others were always by her side. Why did you two always have to go together? Every year I ranked first in class, but I never received attention from my parents. It was all about coaxing her. Just to take her out to play. You even forgot the day I started school vacation. When I returned home alone, there wasn't even a hot meal or anyone at home. To make her happy, you almost forced me to eat mango to death. My coming-of-age ceremony was a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, yet you left me alone to face mocking guests while only worrying about her. She stole my fiancé, and not only did you not scold her, you helped her hide it. When discovered, you advised me to give my fiancé to her. What kind of love is this? As long as she cried and clutched her chest, everyone felt heartbroken as if dying, making me suffer losses time after time to please her. Is that loving me? Just because I don't speak up or get angry? Do you think I have no emotions? My shouting made Mother's face turn ashen. No, it's not like that, it's not. But beyond those repeated words, she couldn't say anything to defend herself. Every single thing I had just recounted was the absolute truth that had happened. She couldn't deny it. Everyone only knows how to blame me for not having a good character, not being well-behaved, not being understanding like Serena. But wasn't my character shaped by all of you? Before Serena existed, everyone loved me so much. Yet from the moment she appeared, everything I did became wrong. When you loved me, you spoiled and indulged me, letting me be willful. Everything was good, even an unruly character was considered endearing. But when love ran dry, everything became wrong. Bad temperament, all kinds of ugliness, even my breathing became a mistake. Do you see me as a cat or dog? Vivian, it's not like that. We truly love you. You're our biological daughter. How could we not love you? I'm not saying you don't love me. It's just that love existed before Serena came. But your love is too cheap. It can be easily shared with others, leaving nothing for me. I clearly did nothing wrong except dislike Serena. You yourselves reduced the love for me, so naturally you felt everything I did was wrong. You're still proud of being fair, but human hearts are inherently biased. How can hands be equal? Where's the fairness? Mother's tears streamed down. Mother carried you for 10 months and gave birth to you in pain. You can't abandon Mother. I was wrong before. I swear I won't be biased anymore. I laughed coldly. Too late. If given a choice, I absolutely wouldn't want to be born into this family. So please, let me be free. Hearing my words, my parents' eyes dimmed, losing all their usual composure. Derek also turned pale, no longer showing his usual arrogance. As for Serena, she had completely hidden under the blanket, afraid as if wanting to escape everything. She truly was the most perceptive one here. I took out my phone and transferred money to Mother's account. This is the money you've spent on me all these years. I'm returning it. From now on, we go our separate ways. I wish you happiness. After saying this, I took Nathan's hand and left, ignoring the Jian family's attempts to hold us back. I didn't look back. In my 2 previous lives, both ended in tragedy because I had valued their cheap, fragile love too much. In this life, abandoning everything, I would live better and more brilliantly. When will you finally agree to be my girlfriend? Nathan whispered beside me. He had asked this question before, and I had told him I still had an engagement with Ryan. Though I had no feelings, I couldn't do anything against morality. I lifted Nathan's face and pressed my lips to his. Nathan froze for a moment, seemingly surprised, but then he held me tighter. His kiss was passionate, taking control. When the kiss ended, Nathan embraced me. He had waited for me for 10 years. Unlike my parents, throughout those 10 years, he never changed. Serena and Ryan's wedding was held very grandly. Although both sides had some friction, they still had to maintain appearances. The only imperfection was perhaps that Mrs. Zhang thought Serena wasn't a biological child of the Zhang family, and was also weak, so the dowry was reduced. Nathan asked me if I was being too lenient with Serena. I shook my head. He thought I was too kind. Someone who had stolen everything from me, how could I let her live peacefully? I hired a girl to play Ryan's ex-girlfriend, who came to the engagement ceremony claiming to be pregnant with his child, causing chaos at the entire ceremony. Their wedding became a joke for the entire high society. Serena was so angry she had to be hospitalized. How ridiculous. But you see, once seeds of doubt are planted in people's hearts, they'll soon sprout and grow. This was just the beginning, Serena. Better prepare yourself to receive my gifts. My parents at the GN family, wanting to make amends with me, transferred all the family assets to my name, leaving only a small token amount for Serena. Initially, I didn't want to accept it because I wasn't lacking in companies. The money I had earned over the years exceeded the entire GN family fortune combined. I didn't care about their pocket change. But to destroy Serena completely, I reluctantly accepted everything, then isolated all of the Zhang family's businesses. Since Ryan inherited the business, his revenue plummeted without breaks, busy to the point of collapse, and his feelings for Serena also became lukewarm. Seeing her husband frequently returning late, Serena became suspicious. Just a little rumor would make her overthink wildly, causing Ryan to increasingly detest her. Her mother-in-law also didn't like her. Since Serena entered the house, the Zhang family's business continued declining. Combined with her inability to bear children, the mother-in-law's attitude became even more obvious. Hearing news about Serena was one of my greatest pleasures over the years. Nathan's company prospered more and more, and we both became busier, with less time to meet. That day, my people reported that Serena was unlikely to survive. Weak health, inability to bear children, abandonment by her mother-in-law, plus daily suspicion and jealousy leading to her husband's hatred. Finally, the two divorced, and Serena had to leave empty-handed. The shares she had previously held were all transferred away by Ryan and his mother, so after the divorce, Serena fell into dire poverty. After everything ended, I returned the companies to my parents at the Jian family. Since I had declared severing relationships, I couldn't accept gifts from outsiders. I had no intention of reconnecting with them anyway. I went to the hospital where Serena lay on the bed, her face gaunt and thin. Previously, her hospital bed always had visitors, but today she was strangely alone. Sister came to gloat at me. Serena mocked herself. I spent my whole life competing with Sister, but in the end had nothing. The things I gained ultimately weren't mine either. I replied coldly. You lived luxuriously your whole life, suffering a little at the end. What's wrong with that? Serena looked at me, her eyes having lost their former shrewdness, only sadness remaining. That day at the New Year's party, I saw Sister wearing a pink princess dress, surrounded by the whole family like a real princess. I was so jealous of Sister because you received everyone's love, unlike me, born with a heart condition, and my family loved my brother more, but then they all died. Haha. Serena paused briefly, then continued. Unlike Sister's family, my whole family only loved my brother. Fortunately, they all died, so I had the chance to come to your family. I wanted to steal Sister's father, mother, and brother. I wanted them all to be mine. Perhaps from being too agitated, Serena coughed violently. I sat beside her, watching her waste her final breaths. But in the end, I still lost. Serena closed her eyes, two murky tears trailing down her cheeks. I don't need those things anymore either. I watched the heartbeat on the monitor slow down, then gradually stop. What she didn't realize was that she had already won twice. It was just that this time, the things she fought for I no longer needed. I looked at Serena's withered face, then called for the doctor. Just as I left the hospital, I received a call from Nathan telling me to come to his house. I opened the door to find the entire house filled with roses, the fragrance intoxicating. My beloved, holding a red rose in one hand and a ring box in the other, knelt on one knee. Vivian, will you marry me? I looked at him and smiled. How could I not agree? This story reveals how destructive cycles of resentment and favoritism can poison family relationships across generations. Vivian's journey demonstrates that true freedom comes not from winning toxic competitions, but from recognizing when love has conditions attached and choosing to walk away. Her transformation from a jealous child desperately fighting for scraps of attention to someone who builds genuine relationships based on mutual respect shows remarkable growth. The tragedy lies in how easily preventable this family destruction was. Simple fairness and emotional awareness could have preserved these bonds. Ultimately, the story teaches that self-worth cannot be found in others' approval, and sometimes the healthiest choice is to stop playing rigged games entirely. Thank you for staying with Garden Story throughout today's tale. If this story brought you value or inspiration, please consider leaving a like or a comment. It's the most practical way to help us continue creating high-quality stories every day. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll always be the first to hear our next story.